Welcome to the Amazon River Basin. A place so immense, so vibrant, it's often called the lungs of our world. It spans over 7 million square kilometers and is home to a third of all species on Earth. The river itself is a titan, carrying a staggering 20% of the world's fresh water. And somewhere in these mucky, mysterious depths, a creature lives, one whose reputation is far bigger and bloodier than its reality. I'm talking, of course, about the piranha. For decades, movies and tall tales have painted the piranha as a relentless, flesh-eating monster. A schooling terror that can strip a full-grown cow to a skeleton in just minutes. It's an image of pure, aquatic horror. But what if I told you that the truth is infinitely more fascinating? What if this so-called river monster is actually one of the Amazon's biggest scaredy? Today, we diving deep into the water to separate the horrifying myths from the surprising reality of the piranha. First, let's give this fish its due. You can't deny the incredible biological weapons it carries. Piranhas are typically no larger than an adult's hand, but their anatomy is a masterpiece of natural engineering. Their teeth are the star of the show, triangular, razor sharp, and designed to interlock like the gears of a Swiss watch. This allows them to make incredibly clean, deep cuts with stunning efficiency. But the truly mind-blowing feature is how they maintain this arsenal. Piranhas don't lose their teeth one by one. Instead, they replace an entire side of their jaw at once. A whole section of teeth falls out, and a brand new, perfectly sharp set is already there to replace it. This means they are never without their primary tool, and always have at least one razor-sharp side ready for action. It's a terrifyingly effective adaptation for a life of continuous feeding. And when we talk about feeding, we have to talk about power. The bite force of the black piranha, when measured relative to its body size, is just astounding. It absolutely dwarfs that of much larger, more famous predators. If you adjust for mass, their bite force is significantly more powerful than the jaws of a great white shark or even a hyena. It's like a tiny, swimming powerhouse, a small package that delivers a disproportionately mighty punch. So, yes, the tools for terror are certainly there. They have the bite, the teeth, and the replacement plan to be a formidable predator. But having the tools and using them for mayhem are two very different things. This brings us to what piranhas actually eat. Despite their reputation, they are fundamentally opportunistic omnivores. Their diet is far more varied than just flesh and blood. They feast on seeds, nuts, fruits that fall into the river, leaves, algae, and insects. In fact, some piranha species are almost entirely vegetarian, preferring a salad to a steak. Their most crucial ecological role isn't that of an apex predator, but of the river's dedicated cleanup crew. They are essential scavengers, consuming the carcasses of animals that have died and sunk into the water. By doing this, they play a vital part in maintaining the health and cleanliness of the entire ecosystem, preventing the spread of disease. In the turbid, opaque waters of the Amazon where visibility is low, they also employ a sneaky strategy called nipping. This is where they dot in. Take a quick snatch of a fin, or a few scales from a larger fish, and then retreat. It's a quick, low-risk snack that doesn't require the energy or danger of a full-blown attack. Now, let's tackle the biggest myth of all, the aggressive, pack-hunting mentality. The image we all have is of a coordinated wolf pack of the water, swarming and tearing apart anything that moves. This couldn't be further from the truth. Piranhas travel in large groups, known as schools, not because they're preparing to attack, but for the exact opposite reason. They are absolutely terrified. Schooling is a defensive behavior. It's the classic safety in numbers strategy. They huddle together for protection against their very real and very numerous predators. What are they afraid of? A lot. Large birds like herons, caimans, lurking just below the surface. And especially the giant river otters, which are surprisingly effective piranha hunters. The piranha isn't the hunter. Most of the time, it's the hunted. They are constantly on high alert, ready to flee at the slightest sign of danger. The school isn't a gang. It's a support group for anxious fish. Even when they gather to feed on a carcass, their behavior is surprisingly orderly. Not the chaotic frenzy you see in movies. They often seem to take turns, rotating in and out. One will move in for a quick bite, then move aside to let another one feed. This prevents collisions and unnecessary chaos within the group. It's less of a frenzy and more of a surprisingly polite, if fast-paced, buffet line. So what about those terrifying feeding frenzies we've all heard about? The ones where a living creature is reduced to bone in seconds? Well, those are extreme anomalies. They only happen under highly specific, unnatural conditions. For instance, former President Teddy Roosevelt once witnessed a spectacle like this in Brazil, which he later wrote about, popularizing the myth. What he did unmention was that the local fishermen had corralled a huge number of piranhas into a small section of the river and starved them for days before throwing a cow carcass in. Under normal circumstances, this just doesn't happen. In fact, local Amazonian populations swim, bathe, and wash clothes in piranha-inhabited waters every single day without any incident. So, do piranha attacks on humans ever happen? Yes, but they are incredibly rare and almost always under conditions of extreme duress for the fish. These incidents typically occur during the severe dry season. When the water levels drop dramatically, large numbers of piranhas can become trapped in small, shrinking pools. With their space and food sources dwindling to almost nothing, they enter a state of desperate starvation. Only in this dire situation, facing their own demise, will they become aggressive and risk interacting with large prey, like a human. It's an act of desperation, not natural aggression. It's the exception that proves the rule. A healthy piranha in a healthy environment wants nothing to do with you. In the end, the piranha is a perfect example of how folklore and fiction can completely warp our perception of an animal. It's not the mindless, bloodthirsty monster of legend. It's a wary, fearful, an absolutely essential component of the Amazonian ecosystem. It possesses teeth that can cut with surgical precision and a bite force that seems to defy the laws of physics, yet its primary motivation is simple, survival and scavenging. The piranha is a spectacular case of biological adaptation, a living testament to the fact that in the wild, sometimes the scariest appearances belong to the most cautious and misunderstood creatures. The real secret of the piranha isn't its ferocity, but its fear. Thanks for watching. If you found this dive into the Amazon as fascinating as I did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more myth-busting adventures. See you next time.